Alright, so we are on video 3 of lesson 10, page 306, applying gradients to multiple objects. So in our layers, we're going to zoom out a little bit and kind of deselect. And on our layers panel icon, we're going to open up the layers panel and we're going to pull the flower sublayer. We've got a flower here, and we needed to add it some depth. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to select one of these blue shapes. And then we're going to choose select same fill color. So if you have a bunch of objects with the same fill color, it's a good way to select them without holding down shift and clicking a bunch of stuff. That's selecting all of those objects, all those blues. And in the control panel, we can choose the gradient named flower. And it kind of pulls it in there. And we're just going to hide those swatches with the escape key. And we're going to make sure the fill box right there is in gradient. And we're double click the gradient tool in the tools panel. And it's going to pull up this gradient, and you can see all these lines here. So what we're going to do is drag from the center of the yellow shape in the middle of the flower to the outer edge of one of the petal shapes. So we're just going to kind of drag out there. And it readjusts where our gradient looks. Pretty cool. So the next we're going to do is explore other methods for editing gradient colors. So in the gradients panel, with the fill box selected, click the reverse gradient button. So we're going to click this, and what it does, it just flips it. You can do reverse gradient colors in a gradient by using the gradient tool to drag across the gradient in the artboard to opposite direction. It'll make it so the dark color is in the center of the gradient. And the color ramp on page 308, the gradient panel, drag the left foremost dark color stop to the right until you approximately see 20%. So take this, and I'm just going to type in 20 because that's a lot of dragging. Drag the diamond icon located between the leftmost color stop and the middle color stop to the left. So we're going to just drag this one to the left. So location's approximately 30. Doesn't have to be exact. So we're kind of adjusting where the gradient kind of looks there. So with the flower shape still selected, click to select the leftmost color stop, the dark color in the gradient panel. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the eyedropper tool. Double click it, eyedropper tool. And then select the shift click the black rectangle at the bottom of the wall. And it's made that gradient to a black. Shift clicking the eyedropper tool applies the sampled color to the selected color stop in the gradient rather than replacing the entire gradient with the color. The flower petals are now complete. And actually may move this out just a bit to have some more depth to it. So with the selection tool, we're going to shift click. So we're going to actually drag a marquee across the blue flower shapes to zoom in. With the selection tool, we're going to shift click the yellow center shape. So we're adding this into our selection. Or an object group or Command G. We're going to choose Effect Warp Arc. So Effect Warp Arc. And so it does kind of a wonky preview. We're going to change this bend to -20. And it kind of gives a little 3D effect to it. And what we're going to do is, I'm actually do a Command S to file save. The next is we're going to add transparency to gradients. So in the layers panel icon, open the left of the path object. And what it does is it kind of has this big effect to it. We're going to just select, deselect. All right. So we're going to select the white ellipse with our selection tool, which is now on the artboard. And we'll click the gradient panel icon to open the panel, which is right there. And make sure the fill box is selected, and we're going to make it to black white. We're going to choose type radial. And then we're going to double click the black color, and we're going to choose the color swatch white. Press escape to hide it. And then the rightmost color stops. So we're going to take this one right here, we're going to take this opacity to 0. And we're going to drag this midpoint gradient slider to about 30. Right there. It kind of has this weird highlight. And then we're going to select the gradient tool in the tools panel and hold down the shift key. It's right there. We want it to be drag top to bottom of the ellipse shape. So it kind of pulls the highlight up top. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the escape key. In the control panel, we're going to make sure the stroke is none. We're going to choose Effect, Blur, and we want the Gaussian blur. And we want the radius to be 60. This kind of adds a certain softness. And this kind of looks like a light kind of appearing up. So we're going to do a Command S to file save.